The click of the latch was the only sound in the otherwise silent house. 8 years. 8 years of building this life brick by painstaking brick. 8 years of laughter, echoing in these hallways of tiny handprints, smudged on freshly painted walls of whispered promises and shared dreams beneath the duvet in our bedroom. Now the silence felt oppressive, heavy with secrets she merged from the kids' room, her smile still plastered on the kind reserved for bedtime stories and zombies. It crumbled, and then vanished altogether when she saw me standing in the doorway. Her eyes, usually sparkling with warmth, were wide, with a cold, stark fear. "Barrett, I didn't hear you come in." Her voice was a breath barely audible. I didn't respond. I simply held up my phone, the screen illuminated with a picture, her hymen twined in our car in broad daylight. The picture a friend had sent, a casual snapshot that shattered my world into a million pieces. The blood drained from her face. She swayed, one hand reaching out to the wall for support. The performance was Oscar worthy. "Barrett, please let me explain the words. We're choked rehearsed. Explain what Julia explained. How you could look into our children's eyes, kiss them goodnight, knowing you were betraying everything we built." Together, my voice was low, dangerously calm, the anger a raging. Inferno within me was barely contained. She stammered, tears welling up. But I cut her off. Don't insult me with your crocodile tears. Save it for your lover." The name hung in the air, thick with disgust. Daniel, my supposed friend, the one who'd been there for me through thick and thin, offering advice, sharing beers all the while, systematically, dismantling my life. He means nothing. "Tome," she whispered, her voice trembling. I laughed, a harsh, hollow sound. "Nothing. You're willing to risk everything. Our family, our home, our children. Shappiness for nothing." The silence that followed was deafening. She knew I had her caught exposed. "Where is he?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She flinched. I don't know." The lie, waist transparent. I pulled out my phone again, this time dialing Daniel's number. I put it on speakerphone. It rang 3 times before he answered, his voice jovial, unsuspecting. "Hey Barrett, what's up?" The casual the feigned audacity of it sent a fresh wave of fury through me. Julia's eyes were fixed on me, pleading, terrified. "Daniel," I said, my voice dangerously calm. I know. The line went silent, then a stammered no what. I held up the phone, showing Julia the screen, Daniel name flashing. "I know about you and my wife. I know about your little rendezvous in my car." Another silence, then a click. He'd hung up, coward Julie. I collapsed onto the floor, sobbing hysterically. I watched her, feeling nothing. The love, the trust, the years of shared memories, all reduced to ashes. I left her there, walked out of the house, and got in my car. I drove aimlessly, at first, the rage burning coal in my chest. Then I knew where I was going. Daniel lived in a sleek, modern apartment complex, a stark contrast to our modest family home. I parked across the street and waited. It didn't take long. He emerged, looking disheveled, his face pale. He was on the phone. His voice panicked, probably calling Julia. I got out of the car and walked towards him. He saw me and froze, his phone clattering to the pavement. "Barrett," he stammered, his eyes wide with fear. I didn't say a word. I just walked up to him and swung my fist. It connected with his jaw, sending him sprawling to the ground. He cried out, clutching his face. "You bastard!" I roared, standing over him. "You betrayed me. You destroyed my family." He cowered, trying to shield himself from me fury. I grabbed him by the collar and hauled him to his feet. "You think you can just walk away from this?" I snarled. "You think you can just steal my wife and everything I've worked for?" He whimpered, his eyes darting around, looking for an escape. There was none. "I'm going to ruin you, Daniel," I said, my voice low and menacing. "I'm going to take everything from you, just like you took everything from me." I released him and he stumbled, back, his face bruised and bloody. I turned and walked away, leaving him crumpled on the sidewalk, a broken, pathetic figure. The next few weeks were a blur. The divorce proceedings were messy, painful. Julia fought me every step of the way, trying to paint me as the villain, the unstable one. But I had the evidence, the proof of her betrayal. The judge saw through her lies. I got custody of the kids. They were confused, heartbroken. I tried my best to shield them from the ugliness of it all. But the damage was done. Daniel, meanwhile, lost everything: his reputation, his job, his fancy apartment. He became a pair, ostracized by everyone who knew him. His world, the one he'd built on lies and deceit, crumbled around him. It wasn't the revenge I'd initially craved. It wasn't satisfying. It was hollow, empty. The only solace I found was in my children's eyes, in their unconditional love. We were broken, scarred, but we were together. And slowly, painfully, we began to heal, to build our lives. Brick by painstaking. Brick. The silence in the house was no longer oppressive. It was filled with the quiet murmur of resilience, the whispered promise of a new beginning.